So we're all kind of expecting to see new iPads come September. I'm personally really excited about this, and I kind of put together a list of everything I want this new iPad to be. So let's take a look. First up is speed. In one of the very first episodes of A Slab of Glass, I said that I will upgrade my iPad to any iPad as long as the speed gets a huge bump. Now, for most people, I understand why they don't care about this as much, but for somebody that edits video and podcasts right off their iPad, having the ability to export faster and render faster is really, really important to me. Also, as speed improves on these devices, the devices will be able to do more and more things. You know, eventually, who knows, maybe we'll be able to run something like After Effects on our iPads. Knowing Adobe, I kind of doubt that one, but it would be cool. The next big thing, and this has been kind of rumored for a while now, and I would honestly be really surprised if we didn't see this, is a new design. The iPad front design has pretty much been the same since the beginning iPad. There's black bezels around the corner, or white bezels if you get the white one, and a home button and a camera. Like, there really hasn't been that much of a redesign like the iPhone X for the iPad. So we're kind of expecting to see a more reduced bezel design, along with the lack of a home button. There's a lot of gestures in iOS 12, like swiping up from the bottom doesn't just bring up the dock, it also takes you home like it does on the iPhone X. So there's a lot of gestures and stuff that kind of lead to, yeah, there might be some new designs for the hardware of the iPad, which I'm personally really excited about, because I think the design of the iPad has kind of gotten a little stale and it's time for a new refresh. It's kind of a minimal thing. Like I said, I would probably upgrade iPads anyways, but a new design, something fresh looking, also makes these videos look a little more cinematic. So, you know, that's cool. Next up, I want to see an OLED screen. I don't think we will get this one in the next iPad, but I want to see it in some future iPad. I love the OLED screen on my iPhone X. Like, I know Android people have been yelling about it for years and they really liked it. And I didn't really get it until I saw it, and it looks fantastic. The color reproduction, the blacks looks very dark and they look like black. It doesn't look like there's, you know, this white light hidden behind it or anything. So that would be really cool. I don't think we will get it because OLED screens are really hard to get, they're really expensive, and the iPad size of a screen is going to be a lot more expensive than what it is in the iPhone X, and we already saw how big of a price jump the iPhone X was compared to the regular iPhone, and I don't think Apple would want to do that to the iPad. I don't think they sell enough of those to justify that. Speaking of the iPhone X, I do want to see Face ID come to the iPad. I know a lot of people prefer Touch ID, some people prefer Face ID. I'm somebody that prefers Face ID. For whatever reason, Touch ID just never quite worked for me. Sometimes it worked fine, other times it would fail and I'd have to type in my passcode. But Face ID has been one of those really great things for me that as long as I don't hold, you know, the phone way down underneath my chin or something, it works for me almost every single time. I think there's probably only a handful of times and maybe I'm at a weird angle or something like that. There has been some leaks and stuff that suggest that Face ID will not only work in portrait mode, but in landscape mode as well on the iPad. So that would kind of cover the iPad Pro being pretty much always in landscape mode, especially when a keyboard's attached. The next one, speaking of iPad Pros, I want to see a 1 terabyte option. Right now, the iPad Pro goes up to 512 gigs. That's the one I have right now. It's great, it's fantastic. Believe it or not, I ran out of space. I put a lot of stuff in my local storage folder, things like that. I had a lot of photos, videos. I was working on a really big video project and stuff like that. And I wasn't really doing a really good job of managing space. And I actually ran out of space. I pretty much spent a couple hours yesterday cleaning up my iPad. So a 1 terabyte option would be fantastic. I know I would get it. Flash storage can be kind of expensive for something like this, so I don't think we would get it, but it's definitely huge on my wish list. Speaking of wish list, I do want to get a new keyboard. I like the Smart Connector keyboard. It's great for traveling. It's great for portability. It's light, especially compared to some of the Logitech keyboards that are very heavy. I mean, the current Logitech one is called the Logitech Slim Combo Keyboard. It's not slim, it's not portable, it actually makes it bigger than a MacBook Pro, so no thank you. Like, Yeah, no, I'm good without that one. But I would like to see something. I've mentioned this on Twitter before, and a couple of other people I've seen mention this. The touch bar on the MacBook Pro never really excited me, even when I was a Mac user. Like, I never really got excited about the touch bar on the MacBook Pro. But I can see the touch bar on the iPad being really interesting. Right now you can do keyboard shortcuts for specific apps, but it'd be kind of cool if you did like the touch bar, maybe you had your dock down there, or maybe you just had quick access to shortcuts from in applications, or you have the Shortcuts app coming out, which is the replacement for workflow. Maybe there is just like a widget of shortcuts, the shortcuts, the Siri shortcuts. Man, these names are really, really confusing. Maybe they're down there. I think the touch bar would be really cool. It would also probably could fix my complaint about the lack of function keys on the Smart Connector keyboard. You could put play, pause, brightness controls, volume controls, things like that right there in the touch bar. I think it would actually be better on the iPad than it would be on the MacBook Pro. I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. Peripheral wise, a new Apple Pencil would be cool. I personally like the Apple Pencil above all other stylus. I have tried the Samsung one, I have tried the Microsoft one. They're fine, I get it, they have buttons, they have extra functionality. But what I like about the Apple Pencil is how Apple really takes into consideration the latency and minimizing that as much as possible. I believe on the current generation iPad Pros, it's 21 millisecond latency. I should have wrote that down. But basically, it feels like you're writing on paper. I can't see the difference. Like, basically latency, for those that don't know, is when you're drawing on the page or something. If you draw really fast, make scribbles or something like that, it's how far the line that you're drawing is behind the pencil. So with the Apple Pencil, it looks like it's pretty much natural. It looks like you're taking a pencil and writing on paper. At least for me, it does. So that's pretty big for me. I do get the wanting a button to be functionality wise. I think a button might be cool, whether it's on the top or the side. What could be cool about that is if you could program it for a specific application. So if I was like in Ferrite and I hit the button, it would cut wherever the line is, wherever the marker is. It could cut my audio, so that would be pretty handy. I could see that being pretty cool. Maybe a couple buttons, maybe like 2 buttons right on top of each other or something like that. That would be pretty interesting. I'd be in for that. As far as hardware wise, that's kind of the stuff that I want. Software wise, I don't think we'll see any major software stuff come September, but just putting it out there, I would like to have multiple apps side by side. So like one of my draft notes and another draft note side by side would be really cool, really handy. You can do this with Safari right now, for those that don't know. You can take the tab and drag it over to the other side, and that will put 2 Safari windows side by side. And I would just like to see that basically come to every application. That would be pretty cool. A reworked home screen would be nice. I did a video talking about my home screen, and I got a lot of comments on asking why I leave it blank. Because really, I just use the dock. I have all my applications in there, and then if it's something hidden in my one folder, I'll use Spotlight Search to search for it. I would like to see like widgets or something be right on the home screen, not have to swipe over another page or pull down for a notification and swipe over. Just let me put custom widgets right there or something along those lines. I think that would be pretty cool. And then lastly, pro apps. I talked about this a lot. I would like to see pro apps come to the iPad. And when I mean pro apps, I mean Final Cut Pro, Logic, and Xcode. Those would be huge for people, I think. I think those would be that would be a pretty big deal, and I think it would kind of show that Apple believes the iPad can be your only computer, which it can be, because believe it or not, I just got rid of my last Mac, which it was my Mac Mini Media server, so that's completely gone. One more thing.
But there is one more thing.
So as I was putting this video together, I've been kind of thinking about what I want in the next iPad, hence the video. But I was also thinking about screen size, and I've talked a lot about how I love the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. I have mine right here. It's fantastic. I've also been thinking a lot about the apps that I use and how I use it, and I think I want the smaller iPad Pro. Let me explain. a lot of apps, especially third-party apps, most of them don't take advantage of a 12.9-inch iPad Pro screen size, and I don't blame them. I would, if I had to guess, and there's no actual numbers on this, if I had to guess, I'd say the 12.9-inch is the least popular, the least bought iPad of all, especially the Pros. I'd say the 10.5, just looking around and from what people want, from what I've heard from you guys and stuff like that, I'd say the 10.5 is far more popular. So needing to make apps for both iPads, you're not going to make special stuff for the 12.9. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. That would be ridiculous. So a lot of apps don't take advantage of that. Also, I've been wanting to get back more into what made me excited about the iPad Pro to begin with, or the iPad in general, and that's just focusing on one thing at a time. I love split view. Don't get me wrong, I use split view all the time, but I use it to move stuff around between apps or just to check information from one thing to another. I don't use it all the time, 100% of the time. I use it, I check what I'm doing, and then I go back full screen to the app that I'm using. So I think I may go with the smaller iPad. Plus it's lighter, it's more portable, it's easier just to use in tablet mode. The 12.9 is so big and so heavy, it's so hard to use just like sitting on the couch. I think I'm gonna go with the smaller iPad Pro this time around. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, we'll see on what happens, what gets announced. If the 12.9 is so much more lighter and is physically takes up less space, then maybe. But as of right now, I think I'm gonna go with the smaller one. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.